Howdy folks, welcome to my new tutorial series. This is Getting Started in Empyrion, and this is the first day. So you're coming down in an escape pod, and for those of you who prefer a Let's Play type of format, I do actually have a Let's Play series, so if you prefer that, then I would suggest go to watch that instead. But this is going to be a tutorial, and it's probably going to have a lot of chopping in it. So yeah, we're just going to get started on the first day and show you the basics of the game. So obviously you're coming down in an escape pod. You want to pick a spot that's good, so probably somewhere near a deposit or near some water. And when you get out of your escape pod here automatically, eventually, you want to go up to it and grab your stuff out of it. So you do that by hitting this button, which works on any container. You can grab all the stuff out of it. And if you don't grab the stuff out of your escape pod right away, or fairly soon in the beginning of the game, it will disappear on you, so you do want to grab it. So the other thing you want to do is go into your inventory and you want to put stuff on your hotbar that you're going to need. So your gun, your drill, your chainsaw, and you can also put down a survival constructor and pick it back up. So we'll show you that real quick here. Now I'm going to go over toward this promethium deposit as well, but first we're going to go put down the survival constructor. So you put it in your hotbar and select it, and then you can just place it on the ground here. And now this is your crafting. This is what allows you to craft things. So one of the things you start out with is a motorbike, and so you can build a motorbike out of it somehow. Let's see. It is in here. There we go. So you want to build, and you want to turn this on also. Another thing is, if you are starting on a temperate planet, you look in here, the atmosphere is breathable. You want to take off your helmet, and don't worry, everybody forgets the first time to take off their helmet, and then you're like, why am I out of oxygen? And you see your little blue bar here starts flashing, and you wonder why you're out of oxygen. Yeah, because you forgot to take off your helmet. So anyway, now you can pick up your constructor. It shows you up on the top what key combination it is, and now when you select your motorbike on the hotbar, you can click on that to place it, and then you jump on and you can ride your motorbike around. And I think it just duplicated it. Huh. Okay. Yes, this is an alpha and there are bugs, and it looks to be one of them. So anyway, you're going to, you can use your motorcycle. Now, the motorcycle is not very useful on hills, but it is actually useful on a lot of other stuff, and so you can pick this up also, just like your other stuff. Now, the things you need are, you need oxygen, and not on this planet, but you do need oxygen, and you need food, are your most immediate needs, and then you also need ammo, and you'll need fuel eventually. So you're going to use your drill here, and this is a manual drill, and you're going to find these deposits like this, and you're going to drill them. And so this drill obviously deforms the terrain. You can also use it to make caves to hide in and that kind of stuff. So what you do is you use your drill, you on a deposit, and the stuff comes up here, and you hit your F key, I believe it is by default, to pick it all up. And when you get more advanced, you get a more advanced drill, a tier 2 drill you can build, which auto picks up everything for you, and you don't have to do all this clicking or spamming the key to pick everything up. So that is how you mine, and that's how you get your resources. So you can turn your jetpack on here and get out. And the other thing you want to watch out is when you're drilling, if you're drilling into a deep hole, you might want to leave yourself a place here in order to get out. Now, the enemies in this game consist of wildlife and drones, enemy drones, which are the red markers on the those are the red markers on the radar up there that are not actually showing up, just to spite me. But those are the enemies, and the wildlife is not showing up on the radar. The wildlife does not currently show up on the radar, so it's just the drones that show up that you have to worry about. And this is why you don't want to go near any of the buildings, because once you get, I believe it's about 400 meters of them, they start shooting at you. So as you can see, that's where those shots are coming from. And yeah, they're pretty deadly. So until you know what you're doing, stay away from the POIs, the buildings. So if you look on the map here, you can see, whoa, and you probably don't want to do that while you're still in firing range. But if you look on the map, you can see they show up as markers here. So there's more ores there, and so your basic ores are iron, which is mainly used for building blocks and a lot of stuff. But building blocks and ammo are going to be some of your main uses for that. And silicon you use to make glass and electronics, etc., etc. The magnesium and iron are your big ones for making ammo, are the ones you need to make ammo, and then promethium is what you need to make fuel. So those are your most important ones at the very beginning. Silicon, copper, and cobalt are not as important at the very beginning of the game. So you'll want to go for those resources first. The other thing you need is seaweed, and you can get that at the bottom of these lakes here. And one way to do this is you hit F5 when you're near that, and it will launch a personal drone that can fly around, and now you can pick these up by hitting your F key, and this will give you seaweed. So we'll grab some of these. And the other thing you want underwater is you also want, when you're down there, to grab these crystals, because those are what power your warp engines later when you build a ship that's capable of warp. So grab those as well. And on pretty much any of the starter planets, either Omicron or Akua, you're going to find the seaweed in the lakes. Now, to get food, you have several sources. One of them is you can go around to some of the plants and you can pick stuff like this, and it will put it in your inventory and you can eat it that way. And so you can shift right click on it in your inventory to eat it. And the other thing is you can actually make seaweed into food using your survival constructor. So that's another way to do it. You can pick these, and the other thing you can do is you can shoot the wildlife, some of them anyway, because the thing is some of them actually will go after you, so you have to know which wildlife is safe to shoot. But yeah, if you shoot wildlife, and this one seems to be bugged out for some reason, so that makes things easy. If it dies, there we go. And so when you loot the body, you can get stuff like cheese and milk and meat from these guys. And so when you take the meat and you put it in your survival constructor, put this down, and you put meat in there, and now when you go to the food tab, you can make salami. There you go. And so this will actually make the meat into salami, which you can then eat. So same thing, you can eat it from in your toolbar. Now the raptors are a little bit more dangerous, and these, when you shoot them, they don't just run away, they actually gang up on you like this and attack you. Ah! So yeah, you want to be careful before you start shooting at the wildlife. If you do happen to die, you'll want to go back and pick up your backpack. It has all your stuff in it. As you can see on the map here, it will show up as a flag. It will also show up on your radar. So yeah, you do want to go grab that. And you want to get your stuff out of it. And it will despawn after, I think, 10 minutes. I don't know, they might have changed it again. But it will despawn after a while, so you do want to grab it sooner rather than later. Now when the night comes and the sun goes down, the nasties are going to come out. And so you're going to want a safe place to be, so that you can do stuff at night. And so the first thing you might want to do is, a common thing to do is you dig a tunnel and dig off to the side so that you can't see into the tunnel. And what you want to do is, using your survival constructor, you can place it down, and you will use, you turn it on here. So if you go into this tab, you can build some steel plates out of your iron, and then you go into the next tab and you can build steel blocks. So once you've queued those up, you can take the core that you have and you can make a base starter. And the base starter allows you to place a base, and all it is just the core block. The base starter is just the core block, so you pick a spot here and sit it down, and that's now your base. Once your base is placed, now you can add blocks to it just by selecting and click when it's blue. if you want to place the block there. And if you're having problems getting it in the right spot, then you can use the drone to get into the tighter spots to place your blocks. In order for your base to function, you need several parts. So if you stand on your base and you hit P, it will bring up the control panel. You can see here it says you're missing a fuel tank and a generator. So you can craft those with your survival constructor, and then you place them just like the other blocks. So you can attach them to your base here and here. In order to turn on your base, then you add fuel. So you need to either click on the fuel tank itself, or if you're standing anywhere on your base, you can click P and select the fuel tank. Either double click on it or hit this access button, and that opens up the fuel tank. And when you shift click on your fuel, it'll fill up the whole thing. To turn on your fuel tank, go back to your control panel and hit the powered, or you can hit the Y key while you're standing on the base to toggle the power. Now as you see, the lights come on and the generators turn. And the other thing you need for a base, basically the reason you want to build a base is you want to make a large constructor. This allows you to build other things that your survival constructor cannot craft. So it's the same sort of interface, and you have a lot more things that you can build with it. The other thing you need to know about in Empyrion is the tech tree, which is currently accessed using the F3 key that opens this up. And for each of the different types of things, tools, weapons, bases, you have different techs that you can unlock. And you get unlock points with every level that you go up. And you get levels through XP, which are gathered by doing all kinds of stuff like mining and shooting things and building stuff and that sort of stuff. One last tip, if there is something that you thought you should be able to build and you can't build it, it's not showing up in your constructor, it's either because you don't have the high enough tier constructor or because you forgot to unlock it in your tech tree. The little warning there telling you that drones are on their way to attack your base, this is one reason why you want to put your base around a corner inside at the beginning, because they cannot see it and they cannot attack the actual base itself. They will just hover outside your base. So keep that in mind when setting up your base. If they don't have a line of sight to your base underground, you're safe from the drone attacks. That's why you build it around the corner. The other enemy that you have to worry about in the game is the drones here, and they will shoot at you. And one of the things that will happen is a troop transport will come in, and it will drop off troops sometimes, which will also try to attack you. So you might want to get out of there once you see the troop transport is coming. After you've shot down a drone, you can loot it, and it has stuff. You get some ammo and lots of resources that you need. So definitely loot them after you shoot them down. This is the troop transport. These things land, and they will drop off bad guys that try to kill you. So you might want to not be standing around when they show up, usually. Sometimes they don't drop anything off. Sometimes they drop off a bunch of bad guys. So when you're at the early game, you do not want to be standing around with this when this thing shows up. Unless it's empty like this. Alright guys, that should be everything you need to know in order to get started on your first day. So take that information and start your own game and go out there and have fun.